It's been going for 26 years and is still one of the most popular languages in IT. In this video, we'll be looking at 5 Java-based applications for FreeBSD. And first up, we're looking at Javatari, an online and offline Atari 2600 emulator. Right, this is the Javatari, I love that name, Javatari website. And as you can see, it lists all the features that you need, even including how to configure it, launch it, and get NetPlay going, which is pretty cool actually. Plenty of examples, plenty of commands to use. So if you get a little bit confused, although the user interface is pretty easy to get around, if you get confused, if you look on this web page, I'll leave a link in the description down below, this GitHub page, it will tell you everything you need to know. Right, this is the online version. So it's javatari.org. And you can load in any downloaded ROMs that you've already got. So I'm going to have a look for a 2600 game. So let's have a look at what we can test. Miss Pac-Man, okay, I'll have a look at that. And it loads up instantly. Make it big screen. And there we go. It's actually pretty responsive for an online game. Well, it's Java based, of course, but yeah, although I technically can't play it. I haven't included the sound because there's a little bit of music and I don't want to get copyrighted. So yes, you can play it via your browser, of course. Or you can load it up via ports and play it locally, which I'm going to do now. There we go. Because it's Java, it's an exact copy of the online one. And we'll have a look at the various controls. Just make that bigger. Drag that there. Zoom a bit, there we go. That's a bit better. Right. As you can see, you've got a large area where the game will appear. Maybe I should have done this before I start playing the Pac-Man game. Well, I'll do it now. The logo is made up of J and the Atari symbol. You've got a power switch for shutting down the system. You know, the Atari system. You can toggle the bottom console controls, although it really doesn't work. Not for me anyway. And you can minimize, increase in size to maximize, and then you've got the settings. Of which you can see the about, and you can see who's made it. And your multiplayer settings. Keyboard emulates the joystick, of course. If you've got physical joysticks, you can configure them there. Cartridge and help. So it's pretty cool. I'll just go back out. So you can toggle between expert and novice settings for each user on them 2 controls down there. Your central one in the middle is where you can load up your cartridges. You've got your on-off switch there. Of course, it does that weird display when there's no cartridge in there, as it used to do. You've got black and white and colour. You've got game select and game reset. You've got some function keys which you can define at the bottom. Except for that one, which will open any ROM and save state files that you have. You've got one there which is will open up a ROM if it's via URL, which is pretty cool. And then 2 there which are defined. And that one at the bottom which doesn't seem to do anything. So it's pretty simple, self-explanatory. So again, like the online version, if you have a cartridge image that you want to use, just click on the slot there. And in this case, we'll load up DigDug. One thing I always seem to forget about the 2600 is it's capable of some decent graphics, considering it's a really early console. And although it's a slimmed down version of what DigDug is in the arcade, it's still playable and recognizable as DigDug. Not that I can actually play it, of course. So the object of the game is, if you don't know, is to try and either blow up the monsters or crush them with falling rocks and boulders. And of course, the ghost can come out and get you, and in this case, they have done. And if you haven't already learnt by now, I am the world's worst gamer. Next is Java Chessboard or JChessboard, and you can tell by the name of it, it's probably a chess game on a board. And in this case, it's I would say a multiplayer one. You can actually connect to someone else running it on a different computer on your LAN, or even across the internet, I suppose. So, yeah. Or you can play it, of course, locally. It says JChessboard is a chess game written in Java that can be connected to another JChessboard via a direct TCP/IP connection. No internet chess server is required for playing. So it's standalone or you can connect. It's also a full-featured PGN viewer and editor. So if you're into chess games of the past, you can view them too. Or pre-recorded ones, presumably that's what it means. This is a game that my children like to play on the systems. I don't know about chess at all, so they often require me to play, and they soundly give me a good thrashing every time, to their great amusement. But I always get my revenge when I'm playing Call of Duty. So there you go. So let's have a look at it. Just load it up, and there we go. And it doesn't take 2 seconds to load up. It's really speedy. And of course, there you've got game control, so you can new games, load a file if you've saved them. You can configure you can configure the board. You can connect, obviously. I think that's one of the great selling points of this game. And if you want to edit a board, it gives you full control over where to put the pieces, etc. If you want to do a custom board. The other options are move, so you can go back, or edit, comment, etc. Your settings, reverse board, that's interesting. And you can enable a server if you don't want to connect. And there's the licensing, which is it's a full GPL. And looking at the versions, there's quite a few, so it's I think it's been worked on quite well. So yes, and we will set the game. Well, I'll show a quick demonstration of the game, as I can't play chess whatsoever. And this video doesn't want to be about 4 hours long. I'm going to set the game to computer versus computer. And then we'll see if it can beat itself. Or how long it takes, anyway. I'm just going to fast forward this. And it did take a while. Any chess players out there will probably recognise the moves that it's making, but to me it's just moving about. And black wins. So very good, yes. This is an excellent program. It's very simple. It does what it does. It's a chess game and it logs your moves. But I think the key thing for me, as I've observed with children playing, is that you can actually connect to another one. And that's excellent. So in the absence of a physical board, which is not always practical, the pieces get lost, etc., this is a good alternative. Next is Jedit, or Java Edit. It's a mature programmer's text editor with plugin support. So it is for those with an interest to these things. So it's written in Java, so it runs on Mac, OS2, Unix, VMS, and Windows, and of course FreeBSD. It's got built-in macro language, auto-indent, supports large number of character encodings. So, it's an editor, so you could use it to edit basic text files, but I'd like to say it's probably really just aimed at programmers, hence the name Programmer's Text Editor. I often get asked by comments on my videos as, could I do a video on this text editor or this one, or what's available for programmers? And there are quite a few available, but Jedit is never one that's ever brought up in conversation. I don't know why, maybe because it doesn't spark people's imaginations, or perhaps it's not the in thing, but it seems to be fairly competent, and it's been around for a while, so if you're into it, then have a look at it. And speaking of a look, there's some various screenshots. You've got Mac, Unix, and Linux, and this rather ugly looking one, which I presumably is so yeah, and that's much better, dark theme one. So it is fairly customizable in how it looks. That looks like quite an old one. Using it, well, I can't use it to its full advantage, of course. I'm not into programming. But I've just loaded up a small file from the port section. And if you're into programming, this will probably make sense to you. And there's the about section. One thing that did strike me is, and I'm going to fast forward this because there was a lot. an awful lot of people involved in this. Now, I don't know whether or not they were part of the programming team or just they funded it, but there's an awful lot of people, and I think that's an excellent thing. So you've got all the basic file options, of course, and as you'd expect really in an editor, there's quite a lot of closing ones, which is unusual, saving ones. You've got editing functions, as you would expect, and search. There's still quite a few options there. Hyper search bar, that's interesting. And you've got your markers. Fold, I have no idea what that is, but that sounds interesting. You've got your views. There's really a lot of actual options in this editor. It's really, I think you need a degree in programming to understand it. Your utilities. Don't know if anyone's interested in this particular sort of thing, whether or not this makes sense to you. I'm not going to explain you what they are because half of them I don't know, but we're just going to go down them. There's quite a few there for C and this section. Plugin manager, and there's a plugin that's already preloaded. We'll have a look at the one that's built in as such, and it's just a little text notepad for any notes that you want. So yeah, it's interesting. The plugin section is quite comprehensive. I had a look at this earlier. And let's say it comes with one already pre-configured for you, but you can download your own if you wish. That's quite an extensive list. You can choose the server that you want to download from. So you choose one closer to yourself. There we go, for London. And presumably, yeah, install. And there's a list of stuff that we got. There's an awful lot of plugins. Android, that's interesting. So if you want to develop Android apps, it says the Android plugin helps you create and run AVDs and create Android projects and import those projects into the project viewer plugin. Very good. There's the background one if you want to change the colour of it. Presumably, like we saw the dark themed one, so I'll probably similar to that one, so you can change a picture in the background if you wish. So yes, it's all very good. There's the background one there. Okay, well, I don't know. It's something that needs to be configured, I think. So yeah, it's an excellent piece of software if you require a text editor and you're a programmer. Gone are the days of the simple text editors, of course, although you could use one of those. Next is Atunes, which I suppose is a riff of iTunes, and you can guess what it is. It's a rather snazzy looking music player that can download album information and album covers and everything like that. So it is pretty groovy, if you excuse the pun. And yes, looks very nice actually. And there's various screenshots of the systems it runs on. It's just like many other Java applications, because it's a multi-platform program. You can run it almost any system that you want. And there we have the ones that it runs on. System requirements is not exorbitant. Yeah. And same as you can't really get iTunes for FreeBSD, I think this is the closest we're going to get. Without running wine. There's various languages, so I think everybody's catered for. I think all you have to do is provide your own music. And there's a SourceForge page. The development is 2019. I think it's, or the last entries were 2019. So it's, quite a few of these particular applications have kind of stalled, although they are getting used. I think there's about 60 odd downloads of this particular program in a week, which is not too bad. And the last review's quite a few years back. It's always amazing me when a program is good and it's used, and yet the development stops. I mean, is it so they've reached the zenith of the program and no need to change anything else unless it's a particular bug fix, or I don't know, or maybe the developers get bored and move on. But whatever, it's predominantly Windows that use it. 48%. Now that's interesting, actually. So we'll start it up locally. There's Atunes. And because it's audio and YouTube doesn't like me playing music, I'm not going to share the audio, although technically I could have played some free music, I suppose. But yes, it's a nice clean interface. You got your help with your about section as always. It gives you a brief rundown. Although it does say, look, that 2022, the Atunes team. So the website doesn't really reflect the fact that it looks like it's still in development. So that's pretty cool. 22 years-ish. And there's the requester. We'll just close that now. Right, we're going to try a couple of pieces of music. I've got two that I've pre-organized, because the main music folder I have, it contains thousands, so that would take too long to load. So the two that I've got is Frankie Goes Hollywood 2 Tribes and Lightning Seeds. Although it doesn't seem to recognize Lightning Seeds, so we'll have a look at that. And the music is playing. Yep, that's fine. Sounds fine. It is a music player. I mean, it's that lets you organize it. And of course, in nearly all of these things, I'm not using it to the most to its best ability. It's got a really nice equalizer though, with lots of settings already pre-built in. Just going to, yeah, we'll try that one. Oh man, that sounds weird, but it's we'll leave it. Yeah. One thing I do like about Atunes is it's really quick to load up. It's a nice clean interface. It is multi-platform in the true sense of the word. And if your computer can run Java, then it can run this. There's lots of options for customization. I like how you can alter the screen panes around as well. Just make the text a bit bigger. And no immediate apply, you have to restart it. So, okay, that's fine. I'll just go back into it and load it up. That's a little bit better. Although these monitors are quite large and I've got glasses on, sometimes the text of programs are just a little too small for my old eyes. So yes, you can add to favorites, change your device, if you've got a portable device hooked up to it, or send your music to it. Radio, but I think you need to, do we need to define that? Oh no, it's got some built in. Presumably you can add your own relatively easy. Okay, we'll try that one. Oh, not that one. It keeps wanting you to donate. So yeah. Okay, well that's alright. A little bit of music on a radio. Cool. We switch back to 2 tribes. Okay, that's fine. And there's the volume. Just turn that down a little bit. I think I shouldn't have increased the treble on that song. And they got the rest of the things. You got the complayer. You got playlist, which is that's quite useful. And logs there. You can save it as an M3U. Yes, very good. It won't be replacing my Mock or music on console anytime soon, but it's a competent MP3 player. Next is Jav6. Now this is an interesting program. It uses ASCII art instead of pixel graphics. And there's an example screenshot. Have you ever seen these comments in any message bulletin board section or anything like that, or even the YouTube comment section, or on Twitch, or anything like that where people do these fancy graphics usually made up of text? Then you know where they got the idea from or the ability to make them. It's been a while since it looks like it's been updated, but that's fine. That seems to be par for the course. The description is Jav is a is it Javi? Oh, Jav. I'm going to call it Jav, although it probably is Javi. Is a free ASCII editor. Rather than editing text, it's intended, I really won't use it for text editing, it's intended for drawing simple diagrams using ASCII characters. It is like a graphics editor for editing text instead of images. That's a good description. Jav-E or Jav is written in 100% pure Java and should run on almost every operating system. It is a standalone application and not available as applet. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if the functionality is being replicated by GIMP. I'm sure that might be a save in ASCII format. But still, this is a neat little program. I've used it once or twice before. Just messing around really more than anything else. There's the documentation, which is quite extensive. Loads of examples, etc. There's some examples which unfortunately won't work on this browser because I haven't enabled the Java plugin. And some of these are quite old. Again. But, by the by. Right, we'll start it up locally. And so, there we go. I like the interface. It reminds me of Scribus, actually. I don't know why. And you can, if you wish. We'll try this one. Okay. I've pre-prepared a small graphic, which is a logo you might recognize. And it converts it from a BMP to the ASCII format quite easily. And once you've imported it in, you can change the details, which in itself is pretty cool when you think about it. You're recreating a graphic image, tweaking its appearance using text, which is, I like that. You can sharpen it, alter its appearance, alter the dithering, etc. Just put it back to default. You can convert it and change the aspects, etc. Black and white, although it really was in black and white anyway, but it just that's a strange one. But yes, you can change it, text width, etc., shape, definition, and all that lovely goodliness. I don't want to change it. Watermark? No, I don't think so. But I'll mess around with that later, I think. So there's the newly altered image. A bit more prominent, I think, with the dithering on. And it's fully editable, so you could tweak it a little bit more if you want to do that before you present it wherever you want to put the ASCII image. Just close that. I don't want to save. You can draw freehand if you don't want to convert an existing image. There's a cloud. My drawing skills are only matched by my game playing skills, so that tells you everything you need to know. If you want to shade in the land, we'll just fast forward that. And there we go, nice little representation of the Microsoft famous XP picture. I will get rid of that before I embarrass myself anymore. You can use text, of course, and this is where the Figlet experience comes in. If anyone used Figlet, you know what I mean by that. And you can edit around that too. And an interesting thing is you can lasso or use a square shape, copy a part of the screen, and move it around in a copy and paste way in real time. There you go. Look. That's pretty cool. I like that. You can, you can draw predefined shapes like circles or ellipses. And speaking of which, one cool thing that this program lets you do as well is animation. Now, I'm not Walt Disney, of course, and my animation skills are pretty basic, but this program will let you animate and convert your ASCII file or animation into a GIF, a small GIF. So if you want to be one of those who like to repeat GIFs as part of their avatars, etc., this will let you do it. So you draw a shape, as in all animation really, I suppose, and then you create a new cell, then draw the shape at a slightly different place, as we're doing here. And every time we'll change the shape of it. And when we play it, there we go. A circle that falls and squashes at the bottom. Now we're going to try something a little bit more sophisticated. I will fast forward. So let's edit the first. Double click on it will allow you to edit. So we're just going to shade that one in to differentiate what we've already done. And fast forward all this technique because it does take a while. The final one we're going to do there. And when we press play, you should see it bounces the screen a bit. So there you go. Will we be the next Hanna-Barbera? So yes, I like that. That's actually a pretty neat. So you can import ones that are already done. And the options are, some of them are grayed out. It depends on whether you've got a picture going. You can convert. And there are some special ones already built in. Now these are also neat as well. I do love this program. I think it's really cool. You can have a fractal and convert a fractal into an ASCII representation. Labyrinth is almost, I'm going to say almost like a built-in game. But this reminds me, I remember buying an 8-bit program from a Dragon 32, which was a Tandy Coco clone back in the early 80s. And you got like Phantasm Maze or something like that, which was basically just that. And of course the Evergreen Tetris. And like these things are built into the program to show you what you can do with some ASCII characters. Almost like something you'd get from a bulletin board from the 90s. You know, it used to ring them up BBSs. This is the Game of Life by Conway, or necessarily based upon something like Conway. Screensaver, really. We're back to the game. And render 3D. Now, it took me a while to work this one out because I'm not the sharpest knife in the block. Or the sharpest knife in the drawer, as they say. But once I actually got the hang of it, it was pretty cool. So you can do a wireframe 3D shape. You can change it to high resolution, well, as much as high resolution as you can, or shade it in. Now, let's have a look at this. Pyramid, that's a bit better. And the Java, the Jave or Java logo, and a key. We'll do the key. Yeah, shaded. Now this is pretty cool. You can rotate it. Now it took me a while to work this one out, but because I looked at it, I thought that's not very 3D. But once we started rotating it, then the 3Dness came out, and that was really, really neat. So if we get the pyramid and we rotate again, look at that. You could, I suppose, record this as a GIF as well. I like that. This is a great program, by the way. So much has been crammed into it that it's I have to congratulate them for it. So yes, there's Java-E or Jave 6. And there's the people behind it and the Java versions. And there's the author Marcus. Very nice indeed. So, Java is something which I've kind of like looked at, skirted upon every now and then, an application in Java, but not really looked at it any deeper than that. But it's a shame because there's quite a few Java applications for FreeBSD that you don't have to download. You don't have to install Java and then download it from an external site. They're actually available via the ports, and it will take care of the thing for you. As long as you know how to set Java up and set the FS tab and get everything going like that. Once you've got your Java up and running well, then you can load in install these Java programs, and some of them are pretty cool. Some of them add functionality which are not available in, I'm going to say, regular programs. So yeah, give them a look, have a go, and let me know what you think. I'll leave the various links in the description box down below, and say thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.